influencers who provide financial advice and recommendations to ordinary investors. SEBI
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Patra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street, starting with the benchmark index moves to sectoral action and all the stocks that are buzzing in trade as well. What we'll also get you is 3 stock ideas from our guest today, which you can invest in the run-up to Diwali as well. So stay tuned to get all of those picks as well. But first up, a quick check on how the Nifty is doing as we approach the day's end as well. About a 0.4% of a surge on the Nifty, so the recovery continues, which started off on Friday, 19,129. So the markets are slowly and gradually inching higher, 81 points higher for trade for the Nifty. The Nifty Bank is also now inching back closer to 43,000 odd levels. Today there's a 200 point of a surge for this one, 0.5% of an uptick. Sectorally, a lot of sectors are supporting this rally or the recovery on the upward side. You do have the Nifty Realty, for example, that's up by 2% odd. You also have the oil and gas space, the banking, financials, private banks, all of them supporting in tow. You also have healthcare and metal space stocks, also IT stocks that are slightly higher in trade. The broader market's doing well as well, about 0.2% of a surge for the small caps. The mid caps just about flat with a positive bias. On the downside, however, you do have the FMCG, consumer durables and autos that are not contributing to the gains in today's trading action. So the mid caps, you did see a smart recovery in the early morning trade. It's been holding on to those levels towards the end of the session, and that's a bit of a positive part as well. On the small caps, there was a gradual upward momentum, maintains at 0.2% higher, but FMCG, consumer durables, autos on the downside. On the Nifty, you have stocks like BPCL as the top gainer, almost 4% higher in trade. You have Reliance Industries that is contributing the maximum number of points to the Nifty in the recovery today, about 46 points odd or so. RIL is up by 2.2%. You have Ultratech Cement, ONGC, Cipla and Adani Enterprises as the other movers right now. Now, when we talk about the laggards, the stocks that are not doing well, UPL is on the downside, the top laggard on the Nifty. Then you have Tata Motors, Maruti, Bajaj Auto, Eicher. So all of these auto names that are slowing in the slowest lane as well. Axis Bank and Britannia Industries, the other major stocks that are down by over 1.2% odd or so right now. But the broader markets, especially the Nifty 500, does have some exciting names coming in. You do have EIH Hotels, Intellect Design, Finolex Cables, Adani Green after the earnings, Chola Mandalam Finance, Birla Corp, all of these that are doing very, very smartly. They're gaining smartly in today's trade. About 5.5 to 7% of gains coming in for most of these stocks. So look at Adani Green, for example, 5.5% higher in trade at 919 odd rupees. EIH 7% higher. Intellect Design, Finolex Cables, a lot of these stocks that are moving up in trade. But time to welcome our guest on the show. Ruchit Jain joins in, lead research analyst at 5paisa. Ruchit, good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking the time out for this discussion. Your thoughts on the overall market scenario? You know, we had 5-6 days of carnage on the street, a recovery on Friday that continues today, thankfully so. But where do you see the markets in the run-up to Diwali? Are we going to see volatility persist, sideways momentum to persist, or do you actually see that we've made a bottom, the markets will once again try to test 20,000?
Hi, very good afternoon, Sakshi. First of all, thank you very much for having me on your show today. Well, Sakshi, if you look at last 1.5 week, things have changed drastically for the equity markets. Well, all the impact of the global news flows, whether it be started with that Israel-Hamas war, and then we have seen that rising bond yield, everything had a negative impact on the equity markets, and that's why we have seen that sharp correction during last week. Now, because of that correction, the mid to long term charts have deteriorated a bit, and I think the up move that we have seen since the month of April till last month, when we witnessed an an up move for about 20,000 mark, I think markets are still in that corrective phase and which would retrace significant part of that up move. So the momentum readings on the weekly as well as the monthly charts are not much positive. So we are not expecting any run-up move before Diwali as of now. I think markets movement would continue to depend more on the global news flows. And if you look at the main reason why our markets have corrected so sharply, was because of the FIS selling figures, not only in cash segment, but they have been on the short side in the index futures segment too. And if you look at the data now, then about 88% of the positions in the index futures are still on the short side. They have rolled over significant short positions on last Thursday, and that short positions are still intact. Minor pullback move which we have seen in Friday's session. We have not seen any kind of significant short covering in this pullback. So I think until we see any global positive news flows which will lead to that short covering, markets are likely to witness some more volatility going ahead. And on the higher side, we would see selling pressure again as the markets approach those resistances. So till Diwali, if you are looking for no market movement, then I'm not expecting any significant up move in the index. More would depend on how the global news flows shape up. But yes, 19,200, 19,300, that will act as a resistance where again selling pressure could persist.
Okay, but in hindsight, would last week have presented us a great opportunity to buy into? Is that something that you also did? Help our viewers really understand now the strategy up till Diwali.
So yes, one need to be very stock specific now. What we can see that during last week, most of the stocks witnessed that correction when the mid cap and the small cap no index broke their support, and there was a broader market sell off. But if you are a trader, then I think you need to be cautious and need to focus more on such stocks where a relative outperformance is there. Now, what do I mean by relative outperformance? Those stocks which are falling less along with the markets, along with the broader markets, and those stock where you can see that last two trading sessions the recovery is supported by very good volumes. So I think such stocks would lead the momentum going ahead also, and that would do, and such kind of stocks would I think beat the market's momentum. So my focus today also, the three stocks that we will talk about will be more on such a bit of defensive names, we can say, where the volatility is less, and also in the volatile markets they have potential to show outperformance.
Okay, great. So let's start off with the stock ideas that you have pulled out for all our viewers in the run up to Diwali, where you believe that the current valuations are fair enough. One can take a pick, as well as for the medium to long term perspective, there is an upside that one can look into. So let's start off with your first stock idea in the run up to Diwali. Which is that stock that you believe investors can buy into now?
So my first stock idea is a recommendation in persistent system. So if you look at the daily charts, then we have already seen a good breakout from a consolidation in the last week in persistent. And the theme, Sakshi, that I was talking about, look at the stocks which are outperforming in falling market. And persistent is one of the stock, irrespective of that correction. And during last week, we have seen the stock had given positive returns in last 1 week. So I think that's the main reason why I've selected this stock. Secondly, the volumes on the breakout is quite good. So usually whenever see such consolidations breakout supported by high volumes, these stocks can outperform. So persistent can be bought for short term with stop loss below 59.60 for potential targets around 6200 first, and if 6200 gets crossed, then I think the stock could also continue to head high towards 6300 till Diwali.
Okay, till the Diwali, first target would be 6200. If that level also gets crossed, then 6300 is something that you can aim to achieve with a stop loss of below 5900 odd or so. Currently, the stock is somewhere around 6063 odd rupees. Persistent systems, the stock has really performed very well over the last 6 months and on a year-to-date basis as well. So 6 months return is equivalent of 28%. Year-to-date return is over 50%. So very sharp move is what we have seen on persistent systems over the last 1 year. Over the last 1 year also 64% surge is what we have seen. So the stock has moved up on 6 months, year to date and 1 year perspective. A very strong move coming in on all these parameters right now. From the IT space, this is a stock that you can continue to bet on. Which is your second stock idea for the day, Ruchit?
So Sakshi's second stock also is from the IT space itself, and here I'm doing some bottom fishing in one of the large cap name, which is TCS. Okay. So we have recently seen along with the results, the company had announced a buyback, and I think the stock has already seen a price wise correction from those higher levels. So the risk reward ratio is quite favorable over here because the stock is now trading towards its around its previous support, which was seen in the month of July and August. So the downside seems to be quite limited from here. Maybe if not an uptrend, at least a pullback move should be seen in next 2 to 3 weeks, and that's why I think TCS, considering the good risk reward ratio, I'm advising to go long over here. One can go long with stop loss below 3320 for potential target in the range of 3450 to 3500.
Okay, got that. So TCS is another stock that you can continue to bet on this stock with a target price of currently the stock is trading somewhere around, if we see, the stock is at 3320 odd levels and the target price of 3450. Though 3320 is the stop loss that Ruchit has recommended here. 3450 is the target price for TCS is what he has recommended. Let's change the stock here. Persistent Systems is being shown, but let's show TCS, for example. That's the second stock idea that Ruchit has recommended over here. So TCS, the leading company, definitely the bellwether IT firm from the IT pack. Bottom fishing is something that he is recommending at the current levels. Of course, the stock is reacting to both after the numbers as well as the kind of buyback that the company has announced, and that's continuing to give buoyancy to the stock as well. All right, Ruchit, give us the third stock idea that you would go for till Diwali.
So one mid-cap PSU name that I'll pick over here is NBCC India Limited. So if you look at NBCC, there is a high top, high bottom structure which indicates a good uptrend going on in the stock. The price up moves have been supported by very good volumes in the past. So I think wherever we see such good price volume action, these declines provide a good buying opportunity in such stocks. But here, Sakshi, I would advise to buy on some dips, maybe next 1 or 2 trading sessions. If you get some dip in the stock towards 64 rupees, so ideally look to buy on dips. So keep this on your buy list and buy when you get dip around 64 rupees. Keep a stop loss below 60 rupees and expect targets around 74 rupees.
All right. So NBCC is a very interesting play at this point in time, and the target of 74 rupees. So somebody thinking for a lower ticket price item for Diwali, then this stock could be something that is interesting. Today as well, we've seen a smart move on NBCC, 4% higher for this one, 66.8 currently. And when we see for the stock, the stop loss that has been recommended is somewhere around 60 with a target price of 74. So strong move can be expected on NBCC from the current levels as well. Let's look at the historical performance as well. In the last 1 month, the stock has moved anywhere between 14.5 to 15 odd percent. In the last 6 months, the move has been very, very strong. 66 to 67% of a surge is what you've seen already on NBCC. Again, on a 1-year perspective, the return is even more massive. It's definitely given a over 100% kind of a return for the investors, 66.8. So definitely it has doubled the investors' wealth if you had invested in NBCC over a 1-year perspective. But even now, Ruchit believes there is enough value that you can go for, and therefore over the next few days, continue to watch out for the buying range with a stop loss of 60 and 74 target price for NBCC. So 3 stock ideas is what Ruchit has given us today: Persistent Systems, TCS and NBCC. Large cap, mid cap as well as from the IT space, and of course the construction major NBCC, which is a government company too. So all these different variety of stocks are present for you as a Diwali stock idea. Many thanks then, Ruchit, for sharing with us all these stock ideas. In the meanwhile, let's get back to the markets to see how are they trading at this point in time. 15 minutes from the closing, and you actually see about a 0.5% surge coming in on the Nifty, 19,140 currently, just about a 93 point of a move. But the good part is that we are holding strong even after a weekend onto that recovery zone and hoping for the recovery to continue too. Look at the Nifty Bank, it's now back above the 43,000 mark as well. 246 point of a move on the upside, 0.5% of a surge. Which are the sectors that are contributing? Well, you do have the realty space, oil and gas, financials, definitely the Nifty Bank, financial services, private banks, all of them supporting the markets. You also have slight uptick coming in on the metal and the healthcare pack as well, and the IT heavyweights are also now pushing forward. PSU banks back into the green as well, slight uptick coming in. On the stocks, you have BPCL, the top gainer. Then you also have oil and gas, natural gas. So the oil and gas stocks definitely in focus. Commodity-based stocks in focus as well. Metal, cement stocks, Ultratech Cement, that's up in green. As well as Reliance Industries, that is a major contributor to the Nifty move today. Up by almost 2.3% at 2312 currently. A strong move coming in on that one too. Now on the F&O space, you do have BPCL, Cipla, Muthoot Finance. These three stocks as the top gainers as far as the F&O action is concerned. Anywhere between 3.5% to 4.5% of an uptick is what you see. But very strong moves on individual stocks from the Nifty 500 basket. EIH Hotels, 7.5% higher in trade. Strong move for this one. Finolex Cables, another 6% move for this one. Intellect Design from the mid-cap IT basket, again, another stock that's moving up. From the Adani group of stocks, major of which stocks are actually coming back into flavor today. Adani Green is the stock that you need to watch out for. After the earnings, a strong move for this one. Cholamandalam Finance, LG Equipments, Birla Corp. These are the stocks that are moving very, very sharply on an intraday basis. Anywhere between 5 to 8% of a surge coming in on this. All right, and with that, we will wrap up this special edition right here. But do stay tuned on to Business Today Television to catch all the updates from the world of business and stock markets.
Well, at the India Mobile Congress, really interesting propositions when it comes to new products and, of course, the technology of future is, of course, and one of the brands which I've been speaking to now is, of course, HFCL, the leading company when it comes to providing optical fiber and, of course, new network areas. Mr. Nada joins us. Thank you, Mr. Nada, for joining us, sir. Sir, what did Mr. Akash Ambani unveil at your setup?
We introduced our fixed wireless access customer premises equipment, what Jio calls air fiber. We introduced